G'day, Ron Brookman here from Dwell Ministries with some principles on how to distinguish God's voice from our own good ideas or from Satan's whisper or enticement. One of the biggest mistakes I made in my life initially purported to be led by the Lord's voice. I even seemed to hear him whisper into my heart. It was accompanied by goosebumps even. When I shared it, several brothers and sisters warned me against following it. But in headstrong manner, convinced it was the Lord, I followed it because I thought it would meet some inner needs and desires that I had and solve some problems for me. It turned out, as I said, to be one of my biggest mistakes, eventually causing more problems than it solved and digging a deeper chasm of need than the one I hoped it would fill. How can we discern whether a voice, a prompt or an idea is from the Lord or from our flesh, or worse still, from the enemy? In John 16:13, Jesus tells us that when the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide us into all the truth. For he will not speak on his own, but whatever he hears, he will speak. And he will disclose to us what is to come. Certainly, he leads us to know the truth about God, and in that discloses his heart for what is to come and how he is leading us into the future. So, how do we hear his leading? Certainly, as we read the Bible, certain verses will jump out to us and prompt us. We'll receive dreams or visions. There'll be words maybe of prophecy or wisdom spoken to us, or words of encouragement brought to us by others. Alternatively, inner desire, the upwelling of our gifts and passion, just really inspire us to create something worthwhile. However, it's essential to test these leadings, as the Apostle John warns us in his letters. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. I did not test the spirit behind the word I received in that huge mistake that I made. So here are some guidelines to discern the difference between God's voice and the enemy's. When God speaks to us, he will release a beautiful peace and inner stillness to us, whereas the enemy's voice produces anxiety, a need to rush into it. God's voice brings about a confidence in him, whereas the evil one demands confidence in self. God's voice releases strength through grace, whereas the evil one will lead to striving and the need to muster self-reliance. God's voice brings a great sense of hope, whereas the other will leave us with confusion. As God speaks to us, he will develop a real trust in him, a certainty that he is with us. Whereas the enemy's voice will produce doubt, a whole series of what ifs. The Lord's voice to us engenders faith, whereas the evil one will build pressure to make it happen. God's voice fills us with light, whereas the evil one will leave a sense of darkness, even a knowledge that we are needing to compromise with sin. The Lord's voice releases comfort, a certainty that He is with us to help, whereas the other leaves a niggling irritation, leaving us easily annoyed and frustrated. The voice of the Lord will bring to us conviction of sin and a release of grace that enables us to change in His strength, whereas the evil one will bring condemnation, guilt, heaviness. God's voice releases the fruit of patience, whereas the evil one draws out our impatience. When the Lord speaks to us, He enables us to be willing to let go of things. Whereas, on the other hand, the evil one will cause us to grab, to possess, to control things, even to coerce people. The Lord's voice brings courage in the face of setbacks and difficulties, whereas the enemy will bring a sense of anger and resentment because of the setbacks. The Lord's voice causes us to grow in humility, recognizing this is going to become about because of Him, not us. Whereas the evil one builds us, puffs us up with pride. This is our work, our idea. Note how the one, the Lord's voice, produces the fruit of the Spirit, whereas the other, the evil one, causes us to react in the flesh. The Lord's voice to us will build His kingdom. We'll be a partner with Him, whereas the other causes us to amass our own realm. When the Lord speaks to us, He'll release a great sense of freedom, whereas the evil one requires force and causes a performance anxiety within us. Finally, the Lord's voice should be confirmed by others' mature discernment. Test it with those whom you trust. Whereas the evil one will cause us to push ahead in independence, in self-determination. I hope these thoughts are helpful. Thank you for watching. If you like our content, please hit like and subscribe to our channel. And if you'd like to support us, please do so using the link below. Again, thank you, and I trust that you will hear the Lord speaking deeply and peacefully into your inner being. God bless you.